But yeah, I was saying Jay, he one of my subscribers. Jay, I remember one of the first comment, the first time he commented on my YouTube channel, he was like, being a sub 5 male is the equivalent to everybody hates Chris, and that's true. 24, the show 24. It was a cop show. I was never really a huge fan of it. It was okay, but I'm not into cop shows. I don't like them. But my family did have the DVD years ago. We had season 1 and 2. I just remember there were like a few chase scenes and a few shootout scenes that I thought was kind of cool. But other than that, I really ain't care for it too much. Full House, classic. One of my, probably in my top 10, I think. But Full House is one of the best family sitcoms ever. But it got canceled a year before I was born, but I used to watch reruns of it on Nick at Night when I was like 7 and 8 years old. But yeah, like I used to, I remember being like 7 years old, staying up late as hell. And when I used to stay up late as hell, I used to watch Nick at Night, and they used to show reruns of this on Nick at Night. And they had a dog named Comet too. That's where the dog Comet, that's where I believe I got my desire for a golden retriever dog. That's when I started liking golden retriever dogs, was because of this TV show. And I also liked it better when the kids got older. Like the later seasons were really great. Tyler Perry's House of Pain, that shit was great. I remember back in the beginning of 07, I used to watch this show a lot, but mainly the more specifically, I gotta be specific. The TV pilot, like the pilot episode was out of this world. CJ was actually the son. In the official version, he's the nephew, but he was the son in this one, and this one was way better than the original. I didn't care for the official one. I just liked the test pilot. The test pilot is like, they're testing it for the network, whatever network they're putting it on, to see if people, to see if the network want to, have it on there. And I guess they did, so that's when they made the official. But this version right here is way better than the original. And this is when I developed a crush for China Amy McLean. She was cute too. I was like 10 when I started watching that shit. Clifford's Puppies Days. I'm sorry. This is one of my favorite cartoons of all time. Very underrated show. It goes kind of unnoticed. But yeah, for the people that don't know, it was a TV show called Clifford the Big Red Dog. And Clifford the Red Dog, it was a show on PBS Kids, and Clifford the Big Red Dog was the biggest dog in the world. He was like a giant. He was bigger than houses and everything. But then when they canceled the show, they came out with a spin-off show called Clifford's Puppies Days. And so it's basically about when he was a puppy. So on the original, he was the biggest dog in the world, and on the spin-off, he's the smallest dog in the world. So he was a puppy. Like on the original, he had like 2 friends. But on the spin-off Clifford's Puppies Days, it ended up being about him as a puppy. So of course it was in the past. He was in a whole different neighborhood, and he had a few friends before he had it in a original one. Me personally, I like Clifford's Puppies Days way better than the original. And I was a fan of both of them. I grew up watching both of them, but I used to watch this shit like real heavy back in 2003, 2004 and shit. Because my mom used to leave me at my grandma's house because she had to go to work and shit. And then my grandmother didn't have cable, so if you was a PBS Kids fan, if you know, you know. So I used to watch this shit. They also had a show called Maya and Miguel, and I meant to put this on here too. It was about a twin brothers and sisters, but they was Mexican, I believe. They was Latin, they was Spanish. That shit was good too. Rugrats, one of the best cartoons of all time. I stamped that. It ran for like 13 or 14 years too. I used to watch this a lot back in the early 2000s. Rugrats, the movie was good too, but yeah, man, the characters was good. it had a lot of substance in it too. Like the stuff they episodes used to mean something. You know what I mean? It was touching, kind of like Hey Arnold, but not as much as Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold had way more substance than this. But I remember the episode they did about Chucky. Chucky, you know, that his father had to let him know, basically, something about Mother's Day. She had to let him know that his mother passed away. You know, he been keeping it from him. He don't know that his mama dead, you know. Boy Meets World, good show. I think it was good because it you know, it aged as it, like, the later seasons was getting, I guess, a little bit more serious. Before, it was just like a regular, little 13-year-old kid just going through regular homework and shit like that. But it got serious as he got older. Topanga was hot, bro. Topanga was hot. I'm sure y'all feel the same way I feel. A lot of people do. Topanga was fucking hot, bro. God, she was hot, bro. He was like 13. I think when he got canceled, he was like maybe like 19 at the time. And shit, I used to watch reruns of it on Disney Channel. Ned's Declassified. That theme song was good too, but yeah. Ned's Declassified was good. Shit, it was about basically Ned. He used to teach you how to survive in middle school. I remember having a crush on her. I used to have a small little crush on her. I used to think she was cute. She was pretty. It was something about that face of hers. I know the funniest thing is, I know recently, they have a podcast called Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. They got a podcast, all three of them, and they be talking about just certain stuff, and they be bringing up memories and stuff like that. And sometimes they have like certain child stars come on there that they had on their guest star on the episode of their TV show. And one thing that they revealed was that the black guy, Cookie, he actually slept with her. Both of them admitted and talked about it on the podcast. That was funny. I guess it was like a funny little memory for them because they didn't really say anything bad, I don't think. But yeah, he basically, Cookie slept with her. Ain't that something? The only black guy on the show slept with Mo. George Lopez. This is actually like if I had to, when it comes to the 2000s, I can't really mention sitcoms without mentioning George Lopez. I don't think. I've always kind of slept on it. It was kind of on my TV, but I always kind of like looked over it. It was kind of like it was just there. But I ended up it ended up growing on me. I ended up liking this shit. I fucked with it. George Lopez was hilarious. His mother was hilarious too. She acted like she didn't really care for him too much. She had him, I guess, at the age of 16 or something like that. And on the show, I fucked with the kids. The kids was cool. I always thought the mother was stunning. It was something about the mother. She had that, and a lot of Latinas have this shit. But she has that motherly, I don't want to get spiritual, but she has that motherly feminine, you know what I mean? That feminine touch. Not touch, but like that. She has a feminine aura. I don't want to get spiritual and all of that, but you could tell by the way she played that mother role very well. And on top of that, she's hot. Like, she's very sweet. She's calm. She just carry a good feminine aura on that show. Carmen was hot too, but I just like the mother a whole lot better. I'm trying to figure out if back then that I used to like I used to think Max as a kid. I used to think Max was cute, but I didn't really like it. Didn't It was never a crush. Yeah, I think at that time my quote unquote bisexual sexual ways was starting to come about, but it wasn't there just yet. But I did think he was kind of cute, but it wasn't like, nah. I still was, nah. I didn't really have a crush on him, but I did like Carmen though. But I had a huge crush on the mom. I will say that. Because yeah, my bi ways wasn't all the way there yet. Like I really didn't really came to that conclusion at that time. It took me like a year and a half later to come to that conclusion that I was bi. But Corey in the House, fucking fire, man. Fucking fire. My mom, we was living with somebody at the time, and I remember I used to watch Disney Channel and Nickelodeon and shit. This was back like the end of '06. And make a long story short, fuck. I remember, because I was already a fan of That's So Raven, but by the time '06 came, it was getting kind of tiring. I just really stopped caring about it. I was watching all the other Disney Channel shows, but That's So Raven was just, I don't know. It just was. It wasn't hitting the same when Raven got a little bit older, but the storylines were just kind of the same and shit. But yeah, I remember at the end, like the end of '06, back in 2006, I was watching Disney Channel, and all of a sudden I saw a commercial for this. They was like, you know how they do the announcements and all that, make it exciting. They be talking all exciting and shit. He was like, Corey is moving to the White House. And I'm like, and I was excited, man. I was like, damn, like Corey and his daddy finna move to the White House? That's crazy. But I never really did see it until I became like an adult, like 10 years later or some shit. Cause by the time me and my mom and my family ended up moving out of that house and got our own place again, that house didn't have cable. So yeah, that's unfortunate. But yeah, I personally like it way better than the original, That's So Raven. This was a really good spinoff. One of the best spinoffs I've ever seen. And I'm a huge fan of spinoff. Zoey 101. Zoey 101 is great. And this is a fun fact too. That black guy right here, the only black guy on the TV show, that's Corey in the House's brother. That's Kyle Massey's brother in real life. Yeah, that's Corey's big brother. That's Corey's big brother in real life. But yeah, Zoey 101 is this is some classic shit. I know Victoria Justice wasn't all she didn't come about to the second season. She was the replacement of somebody. But yeah, man, this is a classic too, Zoey 101. Back in '05, '06, I used to watch this a lot when I had some cable. I remember back in, I think this was '06 when I saw this one here, when this shit came out. Because I first started watching it when it came out in '05, but '06, they came out with something that I thought was really, really good called Zoey 101 Spring Breakup. Man, that shit was, fucking, I gotta stop cursing, but that was fire, bro. Zoey 101 Spring Breakup was fire. It was about, they had to go somewhere for spring break, and Chase had a crush on Zoey. It was cool, man. And he wanted to tell her, and when he had the balls to tell her, his electronic fell in the puddle or something. I forgot how it happened, but I don't think he never did tell her in this movie, but he wanted to tell her. He had a crush on her. I thought they would have been a cute couple. But yeah. Leave It to Beaver was hilarious. This is a show from the 1950s. I think it came out I believe it came out I believe this came out in the late 50s, I believe, like 1957 or something like that. But yeah, it's pretty good. He's always getting into stuff. He always doing dumb shit, man, but it's hilarious. Y'all gotta check out Leave It to Beaver. I believe they put some of it out. They put the episodes in color because it wasn't in color originally. It was in black and white. I always thought the mom was fucking hot. She was tall too. I think she ended up living a long time. She lived to be like 90 years old. She passed away in like 2010. And this was the spinoff called The New Leave It to Beaver, but they ended up calling it Still the Beaver. But this one right here was the 80s when everybody was all grown up and they had kids and shit, you know, regular, you know, just a spinoff. And that's the mama. You see she got older. And that's, you know, Beaver, Leave It to Beaver. Yep. I like this just as much as the original. Small Wonder. I first saw this show back in 2018. It came on the TV because I was watching, you know, the channel I was watching was showing old shows and shit, and this shit came on. And I've never heard of it, but it was about, they ended up getting a robot or something. It was kind of funny, but yeah, the one right there is the robot with that white and red dress. College Hill, classic. This is a classic show, man, and a lot of fights happened. This was you know reality TV fights happened, but it was a good show though. You know, they ended up becoming cool with each other later on in the show, and the plot lines was really, really good. I used to have a crush on her as a kid. But this was matter of fact, this was the last season, the 09. Yeah, this came about in 09. This was the last season to College Hill, South Beach to be exact. This is the only College Hill. This is the best College Hill season in my opinion, because I only saw 2 of them. And the ones I didn't see didn't look that good. It didn't look like I didn't want to see it. But this one here was good. This was South Beach. It was about basically about, you know, they're being in college and they living in one house on a reality TV show, but they all go to college. I think they go to different colleges and shit, if I'm not mistaken. Drake and Josh. I used to love this show. By the time it got canceled, I ended up not having cable, but when I did, I used to watch this shit heavy. Especially when it first came out back in 04, I used to watch this shit heavy. Man, that was a really, really good year, bro. Yarning and shit. Malcolm in the Middle was good. This one of those TV shows that was really good in the 2000s. Like, it's one of them shows you can't, like George Lopez, you can't go without you know, looking at, you know, you can't go without talking about this. You can't go without mentioning this. Basically, we talk about 2000 shows. My Wife and Kids is another show from the 2000s you can't go without mentioning. And these were some good TV shows too. I remember having a huge crush on Katie, the daughter. I used to have a huge crush on her. I used to be crazy about her. I used to see if she had like social media so I could chat with her. Like I was dead ass like crushing on her. Like, it's weird and crazy, but I was a kid. Claire, she wasn't the original, but I mean she was the original, but they ended up getting another Claire, the light-skinned girl, Jennifer Freeman. But yeah, hilarious show. Damon Wayans Jr. was funny. He used to always slap Junior upside the head. Good old days, because I didn't have cable, so I used to watch this shit all the time. They used to show reruns of it on Fox. By the time they canceled it, I didn't see it until 2 years later. Cause back in 05 I had cable, but I was outside playing with the other kids. Them were some good days. And then they ended up showing it on Nick at Night too, so yeah. Back in 07, 08, I used to watch this shit a lot. I used to dead ass stop playing outside and come in the house just so I can see Katie and see this show, period. Cause I did like the show, but Katie made me in tune to it even more. iCarly was good. Fuck. Yeah, iCarly was good. I used to think Sam was hot because she looked good, but she had this tomboyish, she was like a tomboy. She was still feminine, but she had a lot of boyish ways, and I just thought it was hot. Gibby was hilarious, and I liked how in the later seasons they made Gibby kind of like one of the main characters. Shit was funny. Spencer was always obnoxious. And I remember I Fight Shelby Marks. Most of the like the last 3 or 4 seasons, I ended up seeing this shit when they first came out. Like all the iCarly episodes, I seen most of it when they first came out, especially this special called I Fight Shelby Marks, which is played by Victoria Justice from Victorious and Zoe 101. But yeah, it was cool. She gets into this fight, and they thought she pushed they thought she pushed Shelby Marks' grandmother, and she didn't. And so she got to fight him. That shit was great. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. When it come to iCarly, hell, and even when it came to Drake and Josh, Zoe 101, but let's talk about iCarly. Those specials was good. Like the little specials, like they'll have for like an hour, because they usually be like 20 minutes. The episodes would normally be like 20 minutes, but the specials used to be like a little hour long movie. They used to be good. I remember one of them where where Carly, Sam, and Freddie was locked in his mental home or something like that, and Gibby had to come save him. But that's a classic. Lizzie McGuire, another show that defined the 2000s. If you want to know what it was like to be a teen in the 2000s, more specifically the early 2000s, just watch Lizzie McGuire. But that's how, unless now it may not define people, it may not have defined teenagers in the early 2000s that was from the hood and shit like that, but I believe that's how it was, because I didn't become a teen until like 2009, so like, yeah, that was late 2000s. But I used to like Lizzie McGuire, man. Shit was lit. In my opinion, this might be the best. This might be the best Disney Channel sitcom TV show, in my opinion, of all time. This might be the best Disney Channel show, Lizzie McGuire. But yeah, I used to fuck with it. Yeah, it was cool. I fuck with it. I liked her friends. Her best friends was cool people. You had her, you had him. They was cool. Now y'all shitted on this show here. The Cleveland show was great. Yeah, man, it was cool. I ended up seeing this when it first came out, like, because they used to have something called the Animation Domination when they would show King of the Hill, like Fox, because that's where it came out. Fox TV station used to show brand new episodes of Family Guy, King of the Hill, American Dad, and The Simpsons every Sunday. And I think it would start at like 8 o'clock. I didn't really have cable at that time, so I used to watch that shit. But by the time the Cleveland show came out, I ended up having cable. But I still used to watch the Animation Domination, because you get to see that the brand new episodes of Family Guy and The Simpsons and all of that when they first come out. And then as I'm watching the Animation Domination, they would show commercials of Cleveland getting his own show, and I was like, damn. And I was excited for it. So I ended up seeing the pilot when it first came out. I thought it was pretty cool, but I felt like the first season was kind of the best, and after the first season, it kind of mid. But that first season was kind of good. The characters was kind of good too. It was all right. But yeah, Cleveland's back in Quahog. Half and Half was another TV show of the 2000s. It was okay. It was all right. It was about 2 sisters that had the same daddy but different moms. He was the first This guy right here, this Asian guy, his name is Alec Mapa. He was the first time I really saw a gay guy on a television show. And as a child, I thought, I was like, damn, like, I was like, damn, he's kind of hot, but you know how that shit be when you're, like I said, I was still a kid, so and people telling you that shit wrong, and so you just suppress. And this is right before I came to that conclusion that I was bi anyway. I was only, I was 10 years old around this time. It took me like a year and a half to figure out that was, who I am. But yeah. Man, this was a good TV show. It was kind of funny too. It was a little funny. Y'all should check that out. Smart Guy. The same girl who played in this played in Half and Half, but yeah, Smart Guy. One of my favorite. I used to love this show. I used to watch the reruns all the time as a kid. That little boy, the one that played TJ, that's actually Tia and Tamari's sisters. The twins from Sister. Those are his big sisters in real life. Unfabulous. One of the best theme songs I've ever heard, but it's one of those shows I vaguely remember as a kid. I don't know if I really cared about it, or maybe it just came at a certain time, and at that certain time I had to do homework or some shit like that, because I kind of remember the person's face and the name, but it might have been, it was one of them shows that was kind of just there. You know what I mean? But yeah, I remember it like vaguely, because I remember watching The Millers, and I'm like, where the hell do I know that girl from? She played on a show called She played on a movie called We Are the Millers. I was like, damn, where I know that girl from? And then I ran across Unfabulous, and I was like, oh shit, do I remember her from back then as a kid when I was little? I'd say it came out like 04 maybe. Ant Farm. Ant Farm. One of the best theme songs I've ever heard. This is another show where the theme song was fire. I was already excited that she was getting her own TV show, especially on Disney, because by that point I was a teenager when Ant Farm came out, and I had already had a crush on her like ever since I was like 10 years old. So she was one of my celebrity crushes at the time. But I was excited to hear about her getting her own. I was like, damn, she getting her own show? That's crazy. Because I already had a crush on her when I was 10 years old, when she was on House of Pain, like I told y'all before. But yeah, Ant Farm was actually a good show. She was in this type of special arts school or something like that. Her friends was funny. Her friends was kind of diverse as far as like personalities. It was a good ass show. And this was like the end of Disney Channel, when Disney Channel started getting kind of, it just wasn't hitting the same like the TV, like back then, like the 2000s Disney Channel shows were more kind of relatable and serious. By the 2010s it was just, I don't know where their direction was going, but the shit was good. It was a good ass show. I used to watch it heavy back in 2011. I used to watch it the most, like the first 2 seasons. I used to watch it a lot. Bernie Mac show, hilarious. I ain't got too much to say about it. It was hilarious. The Parkers was a spinoff of Moesha, so I will always have a special place for it. But I don't like it better than Moesha. Although I don't like it better than Moesha, it's fun. I think it's funnier than Moesha. And the reason why I'm bringing up Moesha is because The Parkers is a spinoff of Moesha. Kim, her name was Kim. It was hilarious too. This is another TV show where it's one of the best spinoffs. Best theme songs that I ever heard. The theme song was lit. We're the Parkers. I used to love that show. Stuck in the Middle. I love that show. But by the time Stuck in the Middle came about, I was like 19. I was a fan of the Little Rascals, and Jenna Ortega played, and the Little Rascals saved the day. It was like a little remake of the original the Little Rascals movie. But yeah, she played in that, so I already knew of her. But she was younger than me though, because I was like, when I found out about her, I was like 18 and she was like 13, because she played in the movie that I already knew about. But she played in this show right here. This is when she got her own show, Stuck in the Middle. But by the time I was like 19, I was experiencing, life and shit like that, and I was really, I didn't even have cable either. I just knew about it from social media, so I couldn't really watch it until like a few years later. But yeah, this is one of the best Disney Channel shows of all time, in my opinion. The family is big. It's like Malcolm in the Middle in a sense. Stuck in the Middle, it's like Malcolm in the Middle. You feel me? She played on the show I like called On My Block. I'm gonna talk about that in another video. But yeah, Jenna, yeah, this is definitely top 5 and my favorite Disney Channel shows of all time. I think at least top 10, and I would rank it somewhere in the 7s, from 7 to 1 in my top 10. I don't know where I will rank it at. And as of, if you talk about modern day actresses, Jenna Ortega is my celebrity crush. So yeah, she's one of my celebrity crushes. She just pretty and like, she's short as fuck. I think she's like 4'11" and she's Puerto Rican. She got nice hair and shit. She plays on a new show called Wednesday. She stars in it I think on Netflix. I never saw it though, but it's very popular. It's called Wednesday. Jamie Foxx show. It was decent. It was decent. It's like I didn't care too much about it, but I didn't hate it either. It is what it is. Yeah, the Jamie Foxx show. He had his own show, and 2.5 Men. Boy, this show here was hilarious. I remember one time it was an episode where, cause Charlie used to always sleep with a lot of chicks, and he tried to surprise her with an engagement ring, and an engagement ring fell inside of her wine and the alcohol she was drinking, and she drunk it before he got the chance to surprise her with the wedding ring. And he was like, "You always drinking down stuff or sucking stuff down or something like that." And she was like, "Oh, I thought that's why you love me anyway." I was like, bro, that was so inappropriate for TV, but it was funny. Yeah. Taina. This is actually top 2 sitcoms of all time, in my opinion. This is number 2 for me. On well, let me rephrase that. This is my top 2 favorite Nickelodeon shows of all time. This came out in the early 2000s, but I didn't check it out until COVID-19. This came out in 2001, but I didn't watch it until COVID, around when the pandemic happened. That's when I started watching this shit on YouTube. I don't know why I didn't really remember this show. Cause I think it used to come on Sundays, and like I think Mom Dukes used to like, I had to get ready for bed type shit. So, school night. That's probably why I didn't really know nothing about it. Yeah. But it was about this Latin chick. It was basically about Victorious. Remember the show Victorious? This was basically Victorious before Victorious. She was in one of those performing arts schools, but it only ran for like 2 seasons. Why the show got canceled? It's a long story. Nothing really bad, but yeah. I forgot all about to say, but yeah. like it was like victorious, but the plots was more serious. The storylines was way more serious and way more relatable. It was about friendship and all that other shit. You know, it was. You just gotta check it out. It's good. I'm almost done. I talked about 2.5 Men. Everybody Loves Raymond. I seen bits of clips of it, maybe once or twice. It was just one of them shows that was always right. It was just there. Really, you know, kind of looked over it. But from the very few clips that I seen, I don't really remember the clips. I just remember I would remember watching it somewhat. It was somewhat funny from what I remember. Everybody Loves Raymond. And I like Kenan and Kel. Kenan and Kel was great. I used to watch reruns of it. Last but not least, My Brother and Me. Last but not least, My Brother and Me was very great. It was a great show. It got canceled before I was even born, but this show is so special because this was the first live action sitcom that ever released on Nickelodeon that had a predominantly Black American cast. That's what made this show here so special. It was about a middle class Black family growing up in Charlotte, North Carolina. But this was it used to come on Nickelodeon. It was a Nickelodeon show. It was the first Black Nickelodeon sitcom. That little boy there went viral months back because I don't know if y'all remember when the rapper Lil Baby was in the headlines for something he did or some shit. Like the police was looking for him, something like that. And this little boy here went viral because when he had it on the news, he was talking to the camera about the whole situation, about the rapper Lil Baby in Atlanta, Georgia. And come to find out, people noticed that it was him. So basically, he's a police officer now. So yeah, it was about a Black middle class family in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's what the plot, the TV show was about. They used to always do dumb shit. It was kind of like a kid version of Martin. But yeah, allegedly, the reason why the show got canceled was because, well, actually, no, I think the cast members spoke about it. They didn't like the fact that, like, they didn't like the fact, they thought this sitcom, it was too positive. They didn't like the fact that it was too positive. It was a positive Black family, and they basically didn't like that. So the writers and the producers used to always get into it about the creative differences, and they just canceled the show. But the show was doing good. It only ran for one season. So yeah, these are my favorite TV shows I grew up watching. I got some more videos on the way on some different topics, quote unquote Black pill content. But I'm gonna release another video talking about TV shows. I think I got like 5 TV shows that I recommend you guys watch. These it's gonna be modern day shows. It's like 5 shows I want y'all to watch that you can binge watch to cope. Anyways, I love y'all. Be safe. Bye bye.